welcome, Rise and Thrivers. It is Monday, February 5th, our first show of February of 2024. I'm excited. We are here, myself and my sister Raquel, and we are ready to have a great month with you. So let's just start it off with sharing with you what Rise and Thrive Together is about. We are a vibrant community out to educate, equip, and empower you to have the results that you want for your life right now through real talk, real actions, and real results. So don't forget to follow us on Rise and Thrive Together on Facebook. It is our business page, Rise and Thrive Together on YouTube. We are on also a private community, Rise and Thrive Together community. You can jump into that page as well. We are on Instagram at Rise and Thrive Together, and feel free to connect with Raquel and I on our personal Facebook page and on LinkedIn. All right, now that we've got who we are and what we're about, let's get this show started and get ready for this month's topic. And I want to start that out by throwing it over to my sister Raquel. Hey, sis, how are you?
Hey, why do I feel like I haven't been here in so long?
Right? I know.
I know, it feels like it's been so long. I feel like I was on vacation and I was not.
We were here.
But this month, so excited. There's so many things happening this month. It is um, Heart Awareness Month. It is, of course, Black History Month. It is Teen Dating Violence Month and Self-Love Month. And Reg and I were talking, and it seems like all of that connects. I'm so exhausted, y'all. Forgive me. With self-love. And,
Mm.
and so we want to start off this month of heart and taking care of self and bringing recognition and all of that just to who we are and that self-love. So we want to start there this month. And it's also Valentine's and all of that goodness. And don't fall for the hype, y'all. With Valentine's Day, spending extra money. If you love someone, you don't just show it on one day.
That's
You
right.
love them all the time. And you get them flowers and candy and all that stuff just because it's Monday, just because it's Tuesday, just because I thought about you. So don't go breaking the bank when you see, because it's Valentine's Day. It's about loving the person always. And you don't have to show it on one day that someone created. Okay? I just wanted to throw that out there.
Hallmark.
I felt the need to put that out there.
I said Hallmark.
Go ahead, sis. What were you going to say?
I said Hallmark created it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sorry, Hallmark. I'm going to dash that. But it really and truly is about loving the one that you're with. And someone was saying that the greatest part of a relationship is just smiling because you know you are in a relationship with someone who just makes you soar. And
Hmm.
I'm like, wow,
Love that.
that's kind of good. I like that, right?
I do. I mean,
It's
and
just,
it's beautiful. And, I mean, right now, we haven't seen each other. We haven't talked to each other in a while. Like you said, it was that moment when we hopped on before we hopped on, like to see you. Like there's that type of love, like as of a commitment to our friendship and what we're up to one another. So that, got me there, like right there, like, hey, I get to like smile with you. And really to really bring this together, guys, when Raquel was talking about, hey, it's not just, it's about loving that person that you're with, no matter what day it is, you know, 8:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at, February 5th. I'm going to say, and what Raquel started to say was, but it has to start with you. Because really, like, sis, how do we really know about love and loving that person if we really don't have a true understanding about ourselves and how to love ourselves? You know, I'm big about definitions, so I'm going to throw it out there and I'm going to then hit it right back to you. So, self love in this definition comes as a regard for one's own well being and happiness,
Mm,
considered as a desirable rather than a narcissistic characteristic. It's a desirable rather than a narcissistic characteristic. And here's a little bit more to that. It's having a high regard for your own well being and happiness. I'll say that again,
mm,
a high regard for your own, my own well being and happiness. It means taking care of your own needs, my own needs, and not sacrificing your well being to please others. So,
wow.
with that, I pass it on to you.
Well, I think we should break that down a little further when we say, when it says sacrificing, what does that mean? When we talk about sacrificing and not putting someone before us, are we talking, and I'm just being the devil's
Yeah.
advocate here, does that mean that I shouldn't care about what other people want or what they need? Is that what it means?
Well, we're talking about your well being, right? Like sacrificing your own well being. So I would not say that, sacrificing, like, of course, we're going to care about somebody else's, needs. This is how I'm seeing it, right? Like, I care about your needs, my husband's needs, everything. But when it's impacting, when we give everything, everything, and we're left feeling depleted and exhausted and tired in my own well-being to keep everybody else happy, to please everybody else. I like that well-being and pleasing of others.
Mm-hmm.
That then impacts my own well-being. And I've been down that road way back in the day. I was a people pleaser, right? The people pleaser. What is everybody going to think? Oh, I want to make that person happy and that person happy because I don't want anybody in conflict. But the fact is that it does impact my own well-being because,
Mm,
like, I'm not out there like that was me, that old fixing. I've got to fix everything. I got to fix everything. And then I'm depleted and exhausted. And then when I have like something happens in my own world, like whatever it
mm-hmm.
may be, the littlest thing, I don't have the energy for it. I don't even have anything for it. I'm like shut down and out. So that's what I'm like noticing about like sacrificing my own well-being. So yes, do I care about that person? Do I care about what's going on? Absolutely. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I don't care about them. I'm not, that I'm not even thinking about them. But like, I have to sit there and say, hey, like, hmm, what, like, why use community? Like, what can, like, resource or being able to be honest, to be able to say, like, hey, you and I have had this and happened to each other. Having a call, we're ready for one another. And you're like, or I'm like, totally picked it up, want to make sure you're okay and what's going on because we know things are happening in our lives, and then be able to say like I don't have this right now, can we talk about this later, or we'll text each other, right?
Mm,
We'll text each other later and say, hey sis, I don't have that right now, have that capacity to talk about this right now, like I'm thinking of you, like got it, but like I don't have that, you know, who can you reach out to? And a lot of people don't understand that. And that,
mm.
like, I want to know what you think if that was told to you, because I respect that now. I respect that a lot. I didn't understand that a while ago. What are your thoughts?
I think the same thing. So it's interesting when you say that we should not deplete ourselves where we have nothing left to give another person. And we're talking about self love. And in that same vein, how often do we do it? How often do we do things just for us, for ourselves? Here's the caveat, without feeling guilty for doing it.
Mm.
right? Because I know several people, and myself included, where it's like, I want to do this for me, but somebody needs. And it's like, that used to be me. And I'm proud to say that used to be me. Now it's like, I have to take care of me because I've seen with my own eyes what happens when I get totally depleted. I cannot take care of the loved ones that are around me. And it's not, I want to say this, it's not selfish. Some people think it's selfish when you take care of you and you engage in self love, whether that means massage, you just take a break, you go away for a weekend, you just kind of zone out. Like you said, there are times where my headspace cannot, and I use the word cannot, it really cannot accommodate someone else's stuff that they want to bring. And I've learned that it's totally acceptable for me to say, I understand that you're going through something, but right now I cannot give you 100% of me, and you deserve 100% of me and 100% of my attention. And I cannot give that now. And you may not say it in those words, but you've got to say it to the person and say it without the attitude. Because sometimes when we are so immersed in our own lives and someone comes and tries to distract us, it's like, I don't really have time for you right now. And it's like, wow, that's kind of harsh. So we have to be mindful that though we are in our space and someone wants to come in, it's okay to, in a loving way, say, hey, not now. I
Yep.
will get back to you, but now I cannot do it.
I'm
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think you really were able to, absolutely take what I said, and I really felt that. It has been Sharon's just got it right. Like Sharon, I'm like gonna before I answer, Sharon's got something right. Sharon I'm going to show what Sharon wrote over here. Sharon says this topic has been between her and I for so long on self-love. I've always wanted to take care of everybody else, and I put myself to the side and I completely deplete myself. Right? She like totally has that has been her thing for so long. And so she's saying sorry for the typos. Super cute. Yeah, I mean, this has been a conversation in a lot of the communities that I'm in, and especially as a mom, and the whole thing of taking care of the kids, taking care of the family first, right? And it's one of those reasons why I'm one of my kind of tagline is putting yourself first unapologetically.
Hmm.
That's been it is continued. I say that often, and when my husband watches this or anybody else watches it, they can laugh sometimes because he's like, "Did you put yourself first there?" Like when you're exactly exhausted and coming home, when you break those boundaries on yourself, right? Like when you break those boundaries, say, "I'm going to work from this time to this time. I'm going to go see this person from this time to this time," and then you don't leave and you stay and you do more and you do more and you do more, and like now I put that their needs before mine, and then I get home and I'm depleted and I'm exhausted and I need a massage, and I'm like I can't wake up because I've pushed myself to that limit, like really really pushed that self to limit. Because again, old habits die hard, right? It's like
Hmm.
once I'm in that zone, it's like to say no, those old those old conversations, those old things of like, I don't want to upset that person. So it's really
Hmm.
important for me to make sure in advance to create those boundaries. Like this is, and when that 3 o'clock time comes, because that's what I said, it's like, okay, where we at? I get that, there's more to do. I'm able to like, be able to leave and then be able to, say way beforehand, like way beforehand, they can set themselves up powerfully. Who can we have that done? But that was
Hmm.
me all the time. I'm out and, being like, oh, I'm going to help you do this time. But I don't leave until like 9 o'clock at night, 6 hours past when I said I was going to leave. And
Right.
then I'm like,
Now, you
really, really,
use an interesting word, boundaries. Let's
mm,
talk about that, right? Because how often? Or how much in the habit are we as people of setting boundaries? Because when we think of boundaries, some people may think of, if I set boundaries, I'm blocking you out. But is that actually accurate? And is there something about boundaries that we should not do? Now, I put the question out there. Let me answer the question for myself. When it comes to setting boundaries, I used to have difficulties doing that. Should I say used to? Or should I say my boundaries that I would set were so harsh and firm and rigid that
Mm.
sometimes they would leave me, not people out, it would lock me in. And I wasn't able to be out with people and share because my boundaries were so rigid. It stopped me from getting out and being a part of community. Do I have boundaries today? I absolutely do. And my friends know what my boundaries are. And here's the thing, guys. Sometimes, although you set boundaries, people cross those boundaries. And so, what do we do when they cross the boundaries, especially when you are engaging in an activity that's bringing you joy? You are showing yourself love. So, suppose your family, let's say you have a family at home, right? And you say, hey guys, listen, so from 4 to 5, I'm going to X, Y, and Z, and I don't want interruptions. And we hear that, but are we listening? It's two different things. And someone comes and knocks on the door and they're like, hey, I need you. Can you help me within that hour that you specifically said, I need this hour for myself? What do you do?
Oh man, you are silly.
What do you do?
I love it. I love to know what like some of the audience is, but I will that is my world, especially anybody out there who has kids, you know. It is something that it is a training and development of my daughter, not as a, right, like you laugh, right? But as, and I talk to my a lot of my friends who have kids all the time where they're like, ooh, wow, you're so strict. You're, whatever that made up conversation is. And
Mm,
I'm like, no, I'm training my daughter about self-love. I'm training my daughter to have her boundaries to know. So that was really difficult in the beginning. And sometimes I still kind of go there because right now we've been on a show every single week since May. I think this is our 38th, 39th, 40th, whatever show it is. I'll ask you, audience, Raquel, my daughter's never interrupted it. It is
just
clear
once.
once. That's true. In the beginning. In the
In
beginning.
the beginning, she
In the
interrupted.
She interrupted. From 7:30 when I get myself done until 9, that time. And my husband sometimes is on his meetings and his calls. And then she does it for us, right? Saturday morning, and we're ready to do whatever. And she says, I need this time from this time to this time. Please don't interrupt me. Yeah, man. And we're like, and then there's something I really want to do. I've got the laundry. I want to go in there. I want to put it in, because this is what I need to do. It's my time, blah, blah, blah. And I knock on that door and she said, may I help you? Exactly what happened this weekend. So I got your laundry. And she comes in and she goes, no, no, no. This is my time. It's not that important. And I was
Now, my
like,
question to you is, do you respect her boundaries and
I did.
not cross that? Okay.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to be really honest because this is real talk. That has taken Josh and I, and we're the ones who created this, right? We're the ones who are like, we are going to be teaching our daughter these wonderful things. And then all of a sudden, when it really shows up in your face for a 7-year-old, you're like, what? So, yes, many times there was this, right? That's many
Mm-hmm.
times there was this. And where we are currently, I would say a good 90% of the time, we're all working, really well together. And there's always those
Mm,
days, right? There's always those days. There's always those days. But it is what we say here, commitment,
mm-hmm.
consistency, and being open in communication. And when mom's wrong, and when dad's wrong, and when, meaning we did not we cross that person's boundaries, we own it and we're accountable for it.
Hmm.
And how many of you out there like allow a 7-year-old to hold you accountable for that? Laugh all you want. But like
Listen,
you,
I don't
that's,
have a 7-year-old, so I can laugh. My
yeah,
my thing is though, for those that struggle with setting boundaries, how can we help them
yeah,
to set boundaries? How does that happen? Because it's not magic. And you and I
nope,
just said it
nope,
takes time, but you have to value you. Because if
yes,
you do not value you, huh, why should anybody else value you? And my face totally changed on that one
yeah,
because you don't value you. Why the hell should I? Sorry, that sounds harsh. And it was meant to be. You want somebody to
nope.
value, you don't value you. So why should I? You don't take care of yourself. So why do you want me to take care of you? I learned to treat you the way you treat yourself. So there's sometimes we can't point the finger and blame. We need to be pointing the finger back at us, right? So how do you set boundaries? That's the question. How do we help our audience learn to set boundaries?
And for those who are on, I'd love to know, like what are some of the things if you are doing, or what are some of the struggles that you have in it? It really starts with ourself. It really
Mm-hmm.
is an introspective conversation. Taking that time, guys, like I'm missing the word I'm looking for, but kind of doing an overall evaluation of where you are not creating boundaries for yourself in your life, right? And we've got lots and lots of excuses, work and you don't understand, and 80 hours, and so on and so forth. And, all of those things, right? All of those things. But where is it for yourself? Like,
Mm-hmm.
evaluate, do some self evaluation. So that's what I would say, Raquel, right? Starting number one is self evaluate. you know what is that? What boundaries, like, first of all, start thinking of boundaries. Where would I like, if I don't do it and I'm not sure, I would start with the question of, where would I like to have boundaries? Where would I like to have
Mm-hmm.
boundaries for myself in my own life, right? It could be that, starting from way there. Because if you don't really understand it, you want to start unlayering those, like, where in my life would I like boundaries, or what boundaries would I like in my life? Here's another
Mm-hmm.
one. What boundaries would I even like for myself in my own life? Ooh, Sharon wrote something good, sis. Can you see it?
Sharon, people count on me. Okay, let's back up a bit. Sharon said she's always helping people, and people count on me and are constantly asking me to do things for them. And even if I'm busy, I will do it instead of saying I'm busy. The
Mm,
area of work, certain friendships, and that's great. Thank you so much for being so honest and vulnerable, Sharon. But you don't have no boundaries, sweetie. Let me say that properly. You do not have boundaries. And if you do not have boundaries, I will step all over what you do not have. You can't fault people for what you willingly do. So Sharon, do the self reflection, and where in my life do I need boundaries? When I am working, people need to respect that I'm working between the hours of X and Y. During these times, it's not that I don't want to help. I just made a commitment, one, to your job, right? And I have to set boundaries. Now, when it's time and you are off the clock, you get to set other boundaries as to, okay, after work, I need to decompress for a moment. I know for me, I need to decompress. Now, I'm single, but I still need to decompress. Why? Because my phone still works. So people are still calling me saying, hey, what are you doing? Hey, can we talk? Hey, I need, hey, hey, hey. And it's like, hey, I need a moment, and I'm taking my moment. And the other part of boundaries, let me just throw that in there, is you have to tell people. If you don't tell them, how the heck are they going to know? I have a friend who's always calling, hey, how are you? And as soon as I say, I'm okay, that friend goes right in with whatever's going on in their life. Now, the fact that I said I'm okay, they take that as she's good, she can listen. My fault, because if I can't, I need to say, I'm okay. Right now, I'm in the middle of something. And I have a friend who still pushes that envelope. Even if I say, I'm in the middle of something, they still go on with the conversation. And then it's on me, my responsibility now to say, okay, I know you want to talk, but right now, I cannot. I can call you later, but I cannot do it now. And when you're setting boundaries, one, you have to tell people you have boundaries. Two, and people will try to cross them. You have to stop them if you want to, right? That's in that lowercase, if you want to.
Ooh.
You have to set them. You have to stop people from crossing them. People need to respect your boundaries. They don't have to like it. My friend didn't like it. Doesn't matter. Like it, don't like it. I have them and respect them. If you want to continue being in my life, respect the boundaries.
You just brought something up that brought us back from January topic, right? Which was being uncomfortable, right? Like being in the
Mm,
when you first start this conversation, we're getting deep here, guys, and this we're gonna, this is just week one of being uncomfortable in like the boundary setting, right? So number one is people, we need to know ourselves, know our boundaries, and then be able to share them,
hmm.
and it's not comfortable in the beginning. Like I'm thinking of Sharon at work, right? And somebody will come up to her. It's probably not comfortable to say, hey, so and so, and especially if it's your boss. Trust me, Raquel and I've been there, right? It's the first uncomfortable action that our guest said last month. Take an uncomfortable action every single day,
Hmm.
and it starts to get comfortable. So the first time, hey, if it's your boss, right now I'm in the middle of X, Y, and Z, you know, can we talk about this? Can I get back to you in 10 minutes? Whatever that is, especially when it's your boss, right? Anybody else who's not your boss, it's, hey, I'm in the middle of a project right now, right? Because sometimes it's your boss and you're just like, and if they need you right away, it's like, oh, I'm just finishing up X, Y, and Z for you because you're working for them. Can we have that done? Look at that. I asked the boundary girl who's walking in right now. So, so that's what I mean. It's that uncomfortable piece of that first one, right? That first uncomfortable step. But in a bit, it will be that not so uncomfortable anymore, right? Not so uncomfortable. And that's where I'm going to remind the viewers that uncomfortable first conversation. And like Raquel says, people don't know. We've got to know for ourselves first. If we are not clear, how is anybody else going to be clear? So I'm going to leave, like, as a last minute, giving you some homework. I'm going to give myself homework, guys, because this is real talk, right? I'm going to take the real action of looking at my life about boundaries for myself. I'm going to do some self awareness, self assessment, and I'm going to share that with you next week. What I've done, go on our Facebook page. I'm going to share out loud there. And then, boom, what are some actions and results that came out of that, right? Because if you're not sure about that, then how's anybody going to know? Like Raquel was saying, how's
Right.
anybody going to know? Including sis, I'm saying to you, you picked up the phone because we do that, right? We just pick it up. But I don't pick up the phone. Don't pick it up. Like if you know your boundaries
Yeah.
are so clear for yourself, right? Like I want, even if it's me, no. Like you don't
And
pick.
we had that today where you called me and I was like, hey, I can't talk. I can call you when I get in the car. And you're like, well, I'll be teaching a class. I'm like, okay, great.
And we're good.
Conversation was over. And that was it. Nobody's feelings were hurt. And if they get hurt, then your feelings just get hurt, right? I still need to set my boundaries. Couldn't talk right now, but I know her feelings weren't hurt. And we've got to have this mindset that, okay, if I'm setting boundaries and someone gets hurt by my boundaries, do I shift my boundary for that one person? And I'm stressing and saying it in that way to have you think about it. Do I shift my boundaries for one person because it's not working for them and their life? Then do you really have a boundary? If we're talking about self-love, and that's our conversation for the month of February, we have to start being very committed to us, very connected to us. and communicate with ourselves. What is it that I need? If you need to decompress, decompress. Set the time and make sure people know it. But you have to start getting serious about loving you. Okay?
Mm.
Can we do that?
I'm in.
All right. I know. And next week we want to hear what you have done, and I'll jump in on the homework as well. And guys, remember, together we can rise and thrive. Till next time.